Okay, good morning, everybody. Rabbi Muller here, together with the Mashgiach, Rabbi Tenenbaum. Sunday morning, an off day, officially in Yeshiva Tiferes Tzvi, but as everybody already knows, there's no such thing as an off day in Yeshiva, as a Ben Torah, as a Yid, and even today we're using as an opportunity of reflection. We're closing in on an unbelievable year, a year of such growth in our Talmidim. We're very proud. And of course, this momentum is rocking to the end, to the last minute. We're famously known that last half hour of Yeshiva Metz Hashem this coming Thursday. There's a Ruach Mamish Matan Torah, Maimin Har Sinai. The Li Hefsik, straight learning Torah, and the boys walk away on a high, which is exactly where we want them. And we want to talk a little bit as we go into the summer weeks, how we can keep that momentum rolling, keep it going, and of course, at the same time, ensure that we come back in just a few weeks, which we're preparing very strongly ready for everybody, that we come back healthy, that we come back ready, and we come back motivated to continue steiging, to continue growing. You know, I don't know about you, but this past Shabbos, Friday night, we're telling on the other side of Peterson, but there was some noise, there was some boom, there was some fireworks, like wow, like non-stop. And everybody says, well, every year is like, it hasn't been so loud, it hasn't been. Yeah, you heard it on your side of town too?
We heard it.
So anyways, I'm walking home from shul, there's different minyanim, so I davened the late minyan, and many families had already finished their Suda, and they were outside watching the fireworks, and I saw one of our Talmidim, a sixth grader, a feisty boy, and I told him, hey, Zalman, you making fireworks? He says, Rebbe, it's Shabbos. I can't make fireworks. I said, no, I mean in the house. Are you making fireworks in the house for July 4th? You know, every child has, fireworks sometimes could connote something that, that explosive, but they're beautiful too. And they're nice, and they shine, and they light up the sky, and more so, they light up the darkness. And I think every one of our Talmidim, I was thinking when I walked into my house, like, there are so many boys and girls outside on the corner watching these fireworks, and every one of them is lighting up the world, each one in their own way, and that's what our job is as parents, as mechanchim, to do. And what was interesting was so many parents were also outside, and there were certain kids that were a little scared, every time there was something like huge, so there were certain kids who ran to their parents and like held on tight, which we're going to talk about. And some children just kept on looking back, making sure that Tati and Mommy, Daddy and Mommy are still there. They needed that assurance. So again, every child needs their own little thing. And again, it's something that we really want to talk about, especially when we're not in yeshiva and we don't have that regular security of the regular schedule and the regular, day-to-day that our children are used to. But it hit me that the way the fireworks and the lighting up and just finishing literally 3 weeks of probably 4 or 5 meetings a day with different staff members, Rebbeim, resource, English teachers, and hearing back, going through every single Talmud, the entire staff sitting around the table, myself, the Mashgiach, Rabbi Katz, Rabbi Grossman, Mrs. Ziffer, and boys who like, Rebbeim themselves were saying, like, you told us, watch out for this, watch out for that, and look how he grew, look how he shined, look how the fireworks exploded in a good way, in a shining way. And the steiging of our Talmidim, and obviously everybody understands it takes a world, it takes more than a city to do everything for every child, and how much goes into every decision and every nuance of a day in yeshiva. It's mind-blowing sometimes. I come home and I can't believe myself, like what happened today in yeshiva, and how many things happened, but Baruch Hashem, at the end of the day, it's beautiful, and at the end of the week it's beautiful, at the end of the month, and here we are. At the end of the year, it's already in the middle of July, and the summer program is just the water park last week, the Achdus, even with the rainstorm that was going on, and it was like doomsday. It was worse than fireworks. The thunder, the lightning, the buses were shaking, and the boys, the way they took to it, the maturity, the Achdus, the dancing in the rain, and then the heavens opened, the sky opened in a good way, and it was sunny, and we had a beautiful time. Then we had the graduation trip with the 8th graders. I can't tell you the achdus. A decade is a decade. It's emotional. It's emotional to think about a decade of growth of these Talmidim, the way they spoke on the bus about their history in YTT, their the good times, the not such good times, we'll call them the times of growth. It's something that's very special, and the appreciation to everybody in the whole team is not stam choshev. But we got to hold on to that momentum. And yes, we can pat ourselves on the back, and we're always looking and striving to do better. One of the conversations we have with our 8th graders is, if you'd be part of administration 10 years, so what do you think you can do now? Tell us, we want to end. And there were some good ideas. So we took notes, some good ideas of how we can make the afternoon better, the morning better, chakras, incentives, so on and so forth. Yes, it means adding more sugar, and we couldn't obviously take on every request, but candy machines, slurping machines and all that, but good ideas, nice ideas. We just need to hold on. We just need to hold on. It's something we always tell the Rebbeim. We're giving, whether it's a training or whether it's just a little bit of reminder that, there's something called musical chairs. It's a famous game, you run around and the music stops and everybody's got to freeze. And the beauty of the game is that there's one person, hopefully usually the teacher or the counselor, who's pressing the button on the play and the stop. And as long as you, the parent, even when not in yeshiva, and even though it's not going to be the regular bedtime and it's not going to be the regular schedule, but as a parent, your children play musical chairs all around you. They're jumping, they're running, they're all over the place. Some more, some less, some quicker, some slower. But the ikar here is, the point that every parent has to know is that you're the one who presses the button. Of course, we can have a great time, and it can be even more extravagant, more, less structured, not more, but less structured than a whole year. But as long as when mommy or daddy say, okay, it's time to stop, we got to stop. We got to stop. You have to be the one. When literally, Baruch Hashem, had 99% unbelievable joining it's our summer program. It's not a summer program. It's part of the yeshiva. But, the 2-3 parents who just somehow slipped out, a few days or a week earlier and asked them why. They said, my son wanted that a 3rd or 4th grader is making the decision, should you be here the last week of school. That's scary. And it doesn't start with school, obviously. It starts with everything and anything. At the end of the day, the parent has to be the one who's pressing the button, because that's what's healthy. That's the normal growth of children. And of course, we train them by seeing us make the right decisions, that Hashem, as they grow into young adults, and Hashem, be parents of their own, believe it or not, quicker than sooner, that they'll be able to make those same healthy decisions. So obviously, bedtime is going to be later. Wake up might even be later, but there has to be a structure for davening, for learning, especially the younger boys, and we're seeing it even by the older boys. Kriya is something that everybody struggles with. Each one in their own way. There are some boys who are fluent, but we see when they daven for the Amid, we have a beautiful program training the boys how to daven for the Amid, giving them the tips of what to do, and we've seen so much growth in that as well, where the boys daven for the Amid Howl. It's unbelievable. There was a boy last week in 8th grade who was so shy, he couldn't open his mouth in private, forget in public, and he davened for the Amid, and we actually interviewed him, the 8th grader. We asked him, how'd you do it? And he went through, because his Rebbe gave him the confidence to do it. We're building the boys. But without practice and continuity, they have to constantly, especially the younger boys, but even the older boys, to Kriya, Kapitel Tilim out loud with somebody listening is an awesome way to keep what we learned in yeshiva going. Learning Torah every day. Can't go a day. That's our life. That's our oxygen. They have to see that from the Father. They have to see that it's understood that even if we're going on a trip, and we should go on trips, but Torah is part of our day. Davening is part of our day. And being an Elochiyid, obviously, wherever we go, again, we're going to go on trips. We're going to go places. We can't control what's going on in every park we go to and every place that we go to. But do your research before. Understand that even one little blick, one little look at something can shatter a young boy, shatter him. We don't even see it right away. But the results sometimes come out later on, and we hear back from the boys. They want to be good. They want to be erlach. But again, there's nisyanis. We're not in control of the world. But we could do our utmost, our best, that when we're in a place that maybe things don't look good, okay, we're going to make a move and we're going to go somewhere else, even though it wasn't maybe in the plans the way it was supposed to be. But that's also a lesson that they're going to learn. Hey, it might be upsetting now, but we don't live for the moment. Many of you remember the first time we came, I want this Rebbe, that Rebbe, for pre-1A, for first grade, whatever it was, I want this class, that class. But in truth, there's such a bigger picture, and there's so much more to the growth of our child than who his pre-1A Rebbe is going to be. Of course, first of all, they're all great anyways, but knowing that there's a bigger picture, and it's not just about today's trip, it's about life. It's about something so much bigger and better, and so much more meaningful and worthwhile that in Metz Hashem, our little children are going to grow up like fireworks and light up the world and make noise. Yeah, good noise. Noise that impacts, noise that will empower not only themselves, but empower the people around them. That's our job here in Yeshivas Tiferes Tzvi. That's what we want to come back with. It's hard to talk now about what's going to be in 8 weeks from now because we're living the moment, like we said. But again, a few days before school starts. Maybe we should do another podcast then. But going to sleep on time, going to sleep at a decent hour, getting back into more structure. Again, musical chairs, but again, lowering the volume a little bit, slowing down the music a little bit to make sure that everybody's prepared with the right mindset and the right heart to go challenge, look at it in the face, look at the year coming up and say, here we go, we're going to do it right. We look forward and wish everybody a gesunte Sommer. I'm going to give over now to our Tyre Mashgiach. Big talks and small talks and everything in between. Rabbi Tenenbaum.
So thank you, Menahel. What a schus to be part of such a wonderful Mashgiach Yeshivas Tiferes Tzvi and have the schus to work with the Chushav Menahel. This is the vision of a Talmud is a Talmud, a Talmud is a Talmud, but a Talmud is a Yeshiva, a Talmud is a Talmud out of Yeshiva. And we look out for the well-being of the Talmud not only when he's here over the summer to make sure that the Talmud is safe, to make sure the Talmud feels cared for, and just to share some tips with the parents of how to make sure that our children keep safe, they're grounded, and they feel cared for during the summer. So this presentation, we'll have a conversation about it, some different tips of what parents can do to show the children that we feel cared for. Quite commonly, we're asked the question, what can I tell my child that my child should stay safe? We're living in a world that's unpredictable, and many things are happening in the world and can happen, and in a way it's scary. So we want to make sure that our children are prepared for what can happen. So the question usually is, what can I tell my child so he's prepared and he's safe? And I want to share a thought. It's not necessarily what we tell our child, rather it is what we do. How do we act as parents to make sure that our children stay safe? So the big topic I want to start off discussing is the topic of supervision. There are three main goals, three essential goals of supervision, and I want to go through the three goals of supervision and make sure that we understand the needs and the importance of a child being supervised. Number one, supervision protects. Avada, we understand the Mashem lo yishma'ir, shav shakat shomer, yet our job as parents is to do hishtadlus and make sure that our children are protected at all times. So the tafkit of supervision is to make sure that our children are protected. Children don't always understand risks. They don't anticipate danger. As parents, we could understand what safe play is, how to have a good time, and be safe as well. Recently, I was driving down the block and I saw a child who was bike riding, and instead of crossing at the crossroad, he crossed in between two cars. And the car that was right in front of me missed him by an inch. Now, if a parent observes their child crossing in the middle of the street, they can tell the child that's not safe. Make sure you're wearing your helmet. Make sure you cross at the crossroad. There are safe ways how to bike ride. So protecting the child, supervision protects the child of making mistakes, and or children don't anticipate the challenges and risks and dangers that can come out of when you're playing outside. So number one, supervision protects. If that's the case, as parents, we have to know where our children are, who they're playing with, to make sure that they're safe, to make sure that they're protected. We want to know if my son is bike riding, where is he bike riding? The other day I got a phone call from one of our junior counselors in West Rogers Park, that one of the third grade campers biked from Peterson Park to West Rogers Park to visit his JC, without the parents knowing even that the child bike ride over 3 miles, a third grader, and the parent did not know that he came and he wasn't aware of it.
Was he wearing a helmet?
I hope so. I hope so.
Hope so too.
Now,
no,
again,
just another thing that like just simple safety, like those segways, the way they zoom around. I saw a boy in 8th grader with his 8-month-old baby zooming down Central Park. He's zooming. I'm talking like I can't do it without holding a baby. I don't know how they're doing it with the baby, and no helmet. Chas v'shalom, such parents have to, we have to be able to press the button. You wear a helmet, you can ride your bike in your Segway. You can't. There's no riding. You'll tell me it can't be done. We did it. We did it in yeshiva. We just cut it out.
Right.
We saw that it wasn't something we could control. We stopped it, and it stopped.
Yeah, and parents have to know at all times where their child is, who they're playing with, and if they're playing outside, there should be an adult out there. We're living in an unpredictable world. We don't know what's going on. So at least as parents, our kids are playing outside, there should be someone yotzev v'nechnes to continuously check on them to make sure that they're safe. So again, goal number 1 of supervision is protection. Goal number 2, supervision prevents inappropriate behavior. The nature of children is if they're not supervised, they tend to act silly. The level of silliness depends on their maturity level, and many times it could lead to inappropriate behavior. So when a child knows that for an extended amount of time there won't be an adult checking in with the child, that could give the child some leeway to act inappropriate, to do risky behaviors, and do things that we don't feel comfortable as parents, our children doing. Whereas if a parent is yotzev v'nechnes and the child knows that at all times there will be someone coming in to check on them, whether it's a parent, it's a sibling, someone is coming to check on them, that supervision prevents inappropriate behavior, prevents silliness, prevents things that we want to shy away from in order to make sure that our children are protected. So besides protecting the child, it avoids what can lead to inappropriate behavior. It's a shmiri yisera. Knowing that someone is coming to watch, that adds a certain level of fear to the child, but not necessarily fear in an unhealthy way, fear in a way where I'll make sure that I don't act silly or inappropriate. We have many times kids come over to the house, they have play dates playing over. It is important to know that an adult always has to be around to make sure that they check in with the kids. And when I'll check in with the kids, I'm just coming to make sure everyone is okay. Is everyone feeling okay? Everyone is playing nicely? Anyone needs any help? Just these check-ins help leading from silliness and inappropriate behavior. Usually when we have kids in the house, Shabbos afternoon, recently it was Shabbos afternoon, we had my younger daughter had a friend come for a play date, and I learned at the dining room to make sure that I can hear what's going on in the playroom area and what's going on, and I didn't feel comfortable with the conversation. They were playing a game called What's Different? So each kid had to do something that's different, and the next child had to guess what's different. So one kid is holding something in the hand. Oh, you're holding something in your hand. That's different. You're wearing your right shoe on your left foot, and that's different. And at one point, I jumped up from my seat where the other child asks my daughter what's different, and my daughter couldn't guess. She's looking all up and down, and she said, "I changed my underwear are inside out." And then she picked up her skirt to show my daughter that her underwear was inside out. Now, it could have been an innocent game playing, but that so quickly could have led to such inappropriate behavior. So if we wouldn't have stopped that conversation or that game right away, and I got up and I said, that's not an appropriate game that we play here, and again, now we're going to filter whether the child can come back to the house or not, but it's not fair even to that child, because someone needs to teach a child boundaries. There's certain games that you don't play. If there wouldn't have been a parent around, who knows what that can lead to. So inappropriate behavior can get stopped if there is proper supervision at all times. There is an adult awake, an adult around when the children are playing. And you can take shifts. So that's number 2. Supervision prevents inappropriate behavior. Number 3 is an important one. Supervision builds emotional connection. When a child knows that someone cares about me, someone is going to ask about me, someone is going to look after me, they get the message that my parent cares. My parent cares about me. Setting guidelines, setting boundaries, goals, times, all that is a sign that someone cares about me, and that's the message that the parent gives over to the child. I just want to make sure he's safe at all times. So that's why, if you're going to have a play date, it's going to be for 2 hours. Set a time limit. How much time? And during these 2 hours, we're going to have, if you want to stay longer, you come back home, you let me know that you want to stay longer, and I'll let you know then if yes or no. If it's longer than 2 hours or whatever it is, you want to make sure that someone's going to check in with the children. Someone is there to make sure that the children feel that they're being cared for. A supervised child feels noticed and feels cared for. Sometimes when kids have too much independence, they feel abandoned. They feel an emotional disconnection. So it is important for the parents to be able to show that we care about you by checking in. And sometimes the kids could say, Mommy, I'm okay. Why are you checking in? Why are you asking something? Only because I care. I want to make sure that you're safe, and I want to make sure that everyone around you is safe.
I would just add, Rabbi Tenenbaum, on the trust piece, on point number 2, that that fear of silly things happening. I think the tendency, and it comes from a very good place, we had it this past week, is that some parents, not mine, but some parents trust their children fully. And we have to remember they're children. There are adults out there that sometimes we struggle trusting, but you hope a mature adult we can trust, even under a tough limelight. But, when parents say, well, we trust our children, why do we have to watch them the whole time? And it's a mistake. And we love our Talmidim and our Talmidos, and they're great. They're wonderful, amazing boys. But again, like the Mashgiach said, there's that immaturity that, or that, yearning to, experiment or investigate or do something that's a little bit, sly, or that's what children do. And those are the children who turn out the best. But for a parent to say, whatever my child says or whatever my child does, I trust him, he knows how to make right decisions. When your child is only 9 years old, that's hazardous. That's dangerous. It's not fair. It's not fair to your child. Forget to you. You lachush mi boy. You can't just trust a 9-year-old just like you wouldn't hopefully trust him to take care of your house or take care of your shaitel for everything and anything. You just can't. You just can't. And a parent that says, "Well, I trust my child," those are the ones who we're struggling with, because the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the Bria is that every child needs a parent to help them, to guide them, to direct them, and to make sure that they're doing what's right, and to correct them very nicely when they don't. And again, it's okay. It's okay. That's what children do. But to say, I just trust my child.
Just to highlight these points with a few stories that recently happened in Yeshiva, and we can discuss it, just to bring out the importance of the supervision on all 3 levels. Supervision that can protect, supervision that can prevent inappropriate behavior, and supervision that make the child feel cared for. There's a Talmud in Yeshiva that he has until 1:30 he's in Yeshiva, and there's a program that he goes to after Yeshiva. And one day he came to ask if he can leave at 1 o'clock instead of 1:30. And we said, if you have your parents' permission, if your parents say it's okay, then we're okay with it. And his response was, my parents don't care about me. And that was so painful to hear a Talmud say that. Now, we know the parents, and we know how much the parents care. But if the message that the child feels that my parents don't care about me, whether I leave 1 o'clock or 1:30, or I can come, I can go whenever I want to, that message is so painful for a Talmud to live with. Whereas, if there would be clear guidelines, clear boundaries, the Talmud knows, yes, the parents are firm with when yes and when not, when they could go, when they can't go. Like the Menahel said, the parent is the one pressing the button, not the child. That will give so much more comfort to the child. And here, parents may think that, okay, let him build on his independence. But it's doing the opposite. It's making him feel that no one cares about me.
Or he's just not ready to get those messages. Like you said, sometimes it is a parent that cares, just that the message, the communication, and emotional communication is just not there. Sometimes let's be honest, sometimes it's a manipulation. The boy is trying to get us to, my parents don't care about me, even though he knows very well. But that's again part of the trust. Meaning, one of the mothers who told us, once that, my son never lies. And then we said something later on in the conversation that he said about her, and then she, that's not true. I thought your son never lies. So that in itself, recognizing when the child's manipulating, when he's not, is also part of the game that you got to be on top of.
So that's an important point that Menahel is making, that children will tend to say things in order to get the adults to do something differently.
Of course.
And we'll always say, so let's check in with the parent. The adults have to check in with each other to make sure that the adults set the proper boundaries for the child, and the child knows that they can't just say whatever they want to. It will be double checked between the adults that are involved in his life.
And the best of parents, myself included, make that mistake. How many times do we hear a year from our children, everybody in the class? We had a boy, an innocent parent, or so it seems, that they actually, the boy didn't come to our Zimmer Cheder and to our afternoon program, and he told his mother, the whole class, barely anybody comes, and like I said earlier, 99% of the school is here and thriving, and only few people went. Our parents who have jobs, out of state. But this mother, a good mother, believed her son and didn't check in with the adults or other classmates or other parents or, hey, maybe not. So again, is this boy a boy who lies? No, he's not. He's a wonderful boy. But there was a message that was trying to be given that was miscommunicated.
We recently had a Talmud that was playing outside in the yard, what they used to call the monkey bar. Today they call it climbing frames. And he fell down and he hurt his hand. And when the nurse called to notify the parent that the child fell down, the first question was, who is supervising? Now, Baruch Hashem, we do have a rotation of supervision. Every recess there's Rabbeim that are supervising. Yet the initial response to the mother, before asking is he okay, was who's supervising? Now, this same child, who's in 4th grade, scooters home every day. I wouldn't say every day, but he's allowed to scooter home over a mile from school. And many times he was asked to put on a helmet. But there the question isn't who's supervising the child. So yes, right away we want to make sure that my child is being supervised, but the question has to be, is my child being supervised at home? Do I know at all times where my child is? Am I doing the proper precaution to make sure that my child is supervised? Not only when something happens in yeshiva, the first question was, who is supervising? Where there was proper supervision. It's something that we continuously have to ask ourselves. Am I being that parent that knows at all times that my child is doing what's safe? And again, like the Menahel says, we're parents as well, and we're guilty at the same things. Yet, based on what we're seeing, I think it's important to be ma'or, to bring out these nakudas that has to be strengthened so the children feel protected and children feel cared for.
And we appreciate that question from the mother. And there are times that a Rebbe, for whatever personal reason, he comes out 2 minutes late, and there's a breach sometimes in supervision. Baruch Hashem, we have our security guard, he's out there usually, his windows all over, the cameras. But again, it's an inexcusable thing when a class is left outside. Nothing to talk about, and it's probably 20 times out of 40 in our memos reminding Rebbeim and teachers supervision is of utmost importance. And of course, there are going to be times where there's a breach in that. But we still got to be conscious of what's happening and what's going on. And of course, you're talking so many cases of Gashmias, but in Ruchnis as well. We've had in sleepovers as well. I don't know if you're going to get to that, but in sleepovers, in camp, in the bunks, the Ruchnistic supervision, the Ruchnistic trust. I trust my son, even with 24/6, which is a big jump from the other devices that have been out there till now. But even that needs, you can't just, okay, it's 24/6, I can trust my son. We're big fans, we're okay with it. But again, you can't just trust. You got to constantly check. Your son can't have his own email account without you checking, and constantly just, he's on the phone. Who's he on the phone with? We had a story with that as well. With a boy
Conference calls.
Conference calls. Your child's on the phone for 40 minutes with who? With what? You need to check in. I'm not talking about a breach in privacy here, but who's he on the phone with?
Recently, there's been that trend.
Right. There's been a trend that there are a lot of. Go ahead.
Especially after the summer, kids get together with their camp friends, and they have a conference number where they call in, and they can catch up on the summer experience and summer fun, and see how yeshiva is coming along afterwards. And recently, there's been many of these conference calls that the number goes public, viral, and there are girls that join the phone conversations, or boys that join the phone conversations, and parents don't know what's happening.
No idea, and they're offering information. Big talks, small talks, and everything in between.
That we don't want them to hear.
That's right. Giving your
from
children
the wrong sources.
Giving your children education. And I trust my son. He's talking to his friends. It's so gewaldig. Before camp, he didn't have friends. Now he has friends. But again, what's the influence? So this supervision, again, without being snoopy or being anything, a parent's job is to supervise. Just like a helmet and what do you call it? Not monkey bars. What's it called today?
Climbing frames.
Sorry. Okay, it's all animal rights. Whatever it is. We got to be careful. Correct.
And Menahel spoke about sleepovers. Sleepovers is a scary thing, and at times it's needed. Yet the extra precaution, extra supervision is always needed, especially
doors
sleepovers.
Got to be open the entire time. Somebody, father, mother, if it's boys, girls, have to walk in, even 2 a.m, 3 a.m. We've had too many stories. It's from the only things that are a full paragraph of bold letters in our handbook. The handbook some people read. When we send it out in the beginning of the year, there's important information in there. There's one paragraph that's fully bolded, and that is the sleepover one. It's a small paragraph, because every year we spend a lot of money on that extra ink to make it bold. Every year we have 1 or 2 stories Oh, there was a sleepover last night. You can't imagine what happened.
What happened? There was a sleepover, and there was a deer me game in the middle of the night, where one of the sisters came down. It was a young kid, and the boys started playing a deer me game, and it went.
People over under 18 might be watching this.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to go there, but it's trust us. Trust us. It's not so simple.
And sometimes we think that our children are supervised, and
In somebody else's house.
in someone else's house, or even in shul. Shul. The Mal spoke about the fireworks this Friday night. Yes, there was a lot of fireworks celebrating the Independence Day. In the middle of davening, in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, there's this parent who was davening a very early Shemoneh Esrei, and his eyes were closed, and he's mamish a lot of kavanah, and I felt bad that I can't have that level of kavanah. And in the middle of davening, there was fireworks going on, and his young child ran out through the side door from shul right into the alley where these teenagers were shooting off the fireworks. The father did not know that the child ran out of Beis Medrash to watch the fireworks. He was in an unsafe place, and it's not an appropriate place for a child to be in an alley, especially behind the shul over there. And then later on, he came back. The father didn't know he left. He didn't know he came back. That's correct. So asking the parent, do you feel that your child was supervised in shul? He wasn't. At all times, we have to know that our children are going to be in shul. They're next to us. We know where they are. If they're going to play a game, we go downstairs to make sure that they're safe, that they're playing okay,
and they come back in. Bar mitzvah, they go to their friend's bar mitzvah across town. It's beautiful. Boys walk miles. I wish I could. Miles, one way to another. So you have a 12-year-old boy. You trust him. Okay. So he's going away. And maybe you trust him, but what about his friends? And he's going to shul. And we see it. We see it in our shul. You see it in your shul when it's bar mitzvahs crisscross. And there's a boy, a good chashuv, 8th grade boy, 7th grade boy, who all of a sudden disappears from Kel Adon till after, till almost the Kiddush, right? What happened? His father's not there. Nobody's watching. So again, and what's going on at that time? We've had a few situations by Night Seder. Unbelievable program. We started with I think 8 boys 6 years ago. In Peterson Park, we have 70 boys coming a night, 6th, 7th, 8th graders. It's beautiful. But what happens after? Oh, he comes home 40 minutes late. What's going on for 40 minutes? What's going on is not always the greatest things, and no pun intended, where there's smoke, there's fire. And sometimes it's electric, sometimes it's not. But it's not good. It's not good. So don't just trust. Don't just trust that. And of course, your son says it's not me and it's somebody else, but it's not always like that. And we've had too many experiences like that.
The man spoke about bar mitzvahs going to different shuls. Recently, there's been an uptick in a new trend that boys go to daven in the shul where they feel comfortable. In the past, a child goes to daven together with the parent. Where the parent goes to daven, the child goes to daven. Now, the child feels more comfortable going to a different minyan. Whether there's a better chant over there, there's a better kiddush club over there, the nusach, the havara, whatever it is, we feel more comfortable, quicker, feel more comfortable in a different place. It's not appropriate because the child is not being supervised. So when the child is not next to the parent, then the child lets loose. And at times, it could lead to inappropriateness. Potential perpetrators seek out vulnerable children. A child that's vulnerable, a child that isn't supervised, a child that has weak boundaries, are targets for perpetrators. We want to make sure that our children are safe at all times. If the child decides he wants to daven in a different shul, then the father should also go down there, or have someone supervise the child. Make sure that the
child shouldn't make the decision where the family's davening, but you can throw him a bone once a month, Shabbos V'Varchim, when the chazan's gargling, whatever it is, then maybe yeah. But again, at a certain age, he'll go to yeshiva, he'll make his decisions as he's an adult. But a child should know that up to a certain age, you daven with your father. You like it, you don't like it. That was never a question in my house.
Correct. So now we covered 3 nakudas of supervision, 3 goals of supervision. Goal number 1 is to protect the child. Goal number 2 is to avoid and prevent inappropriate behavior and silliness. And goal number 3 is for the Talmud to feel cared for, to feel loved, that someone is checking in, someone cares about the child, and that adds a connection. It's not good for any person, a child or an adult, to be alone. The Malawi speaks about the choshech. The worst part of Makas choshech was feeling alone. A child that feels that they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, they're the ones that are pressing the button or holding that knob for the gas range, is the one that feels much more needed. He is the one that needs much more comforting, needs much more supervision, needs much more boundaries, tightened boundaries, because they feel lost. And our goal is to make them feel comfortable. I want to take one step ahead, besides supervising, is to have supervision with interaction. Over the summer, there's more time for parents to interact with the child. Children who go to camp, maybe some less time, yet there are still times when there isn't camp and there isn't yeshiva. This may be a good opportunity for bonding with your children. So supervision plus interaction builds stronger bonds with children. So again, supervision is not only about protection, it's also about relationships and develop child character. So there's some, just to give some tips of what could be done in order to create a bond between parents and children. Play games together. There are games that kids enjoy playing, and if it's played with adults and it's played in a friendly way, it can help with communication building, emotional regulation. It can create fun memories for children forever. These memories of playing with parents builds very strong bonds. Try something hard together. Do an activity that's something that the child hasn't done before. Let's try to find a hobby that he was afraid to do, whether it's art, music, dance, something that he isn't used to doing, and the parent could coach the child to do it. So that helps with a growth mindset that the child should understand, yes, I want to do something that I haven't done before, and it helps them develop into their own character in a creative way. Encourage creativity. Allow the child to be creative. Do creative things. Do creative projects with the child. We're just discussing spelling bees. We used to do spelling bees in school. We used to do competition that helped create a drive in children. Over the summer, perhaps that could be reinforced, and I want to discuss it for next year as well. To do more competition, the children shouldn't feel happy with status quo. We want to build to the next level. We want to get to the next level. And over the summer, parents could help the child through creative games, through competition, just creating that environment in the house that this is a growth mindset home. This is a house where we want to encourage more creativity. Then building cooking is a great opportunity.
Cooking at the grill. Who can do best? Who can do best?
With supervision.
Well, of course, with safety.
Safety supervision.
Okay.
Building.
And we're available for testing.
That's tasting.
Tasting.
That's correct.
Tasting.
Building life skills through fun. So number one, the kids could learn resilience. Let them fail and try again. If they lost a game, or if they tried something and it didn't work well, allow them to work on their resilience level. Problem solving. Let them do puzzles, scavenger hunts. Just family challenges that you can create and how we're going to get out of it. Time management. Have them plan the day. How do you want to spend the day? Get ideas from them. Write it down. A task. Allow them the skills that they should be able to work on their problem solving skills. Emotional IQ. Read a book. So how did this person feel? How did that person feel? Just to talk about emotions, that can help them with their own emotion, building their strong emotional IQ. Leadership, you're giving them skills to come up with ideas how to do, what type of an activity to do, or to teach something to the rest of the family, to your siblings, playing with paper, different arts and crafts. That allows them to work on these skills while they're having fun at the same time. I want to shift to empowering children in new settings. Some kids may be going to camp, some kids may be going to visit family members. How do we start socially into a new conversation? How do we break in socially? So making new friends. You teach the children to have conversations with I statements. Can I join you? Is it okay if I take part of this activity? Allow the children to, and role model with them for the children to use the I statement, which is, I would like to join, I would like to have, is it okay if I'm part of this? Reading social cues. Help children understand that if you see the kids are not wanting, don't push yourself on them. Give them the space that they need. If you see someone's not in the mood of playing a specific game or doing a specific activity, don't push yourself on the others, because that will just backfire. Choosing the right friends. Help your child understand if the friends are doing things that me as a parent don't feel comfortable, that should not be your friend. If the child is breaking the rules, if the child is doing things that as a parent I wouldn't feel comfortable, this person should not be your friend. Pick friends that you feel comfortable with, that do things that as a parent I feel comfortable. Showing respect. Show respect to your peers, show respect to the adults, be thankful, be praiseful, give compliments. This all helps breaking in socially into a new environment.
And we'll bring respect to your stuff.
Correct. Summer safety in different environments. Outdoor safety. Sunscreen is very important. Sun protection. It is extremely important. As children, we have to start teaching them putting on sunscreen. It could prevent, hopefully, later on, issues in life. Hydration. Insect repellent. Pool safety is something that has to be discussed with children before they go swimming. It is very important. Don't spritz other boys. Don't hold anyone under the water. Make sure only to walk next to the pool. Don't run around the pools. It's slippery. Someone can slip something and get hurt. A pool is a lot of fun. At the same time, it can be very dangerous, and it's important to give over to children the tips of proper pool safety. Rain and flood safety. Unfortunately, there was recently now a terrible tragedy in Texas where there were floods. I don't know if they could have prevented it or not. Yet, children should know that these type of things could happen, and there should be a safety plan. If it starts raining and there's lightning, stay indoors. Don't go outside. If there's flooding happening, go to a tall place, if there's a mountain there, go on top of the mountain, follow the guidance of adults. Wherever you send your child, make sure that you're in contact with the staff there, that there is a plan. There's a rain plan, there's a storm plan, without anxiety. Children shouldn't hear everything that's going on in the world, because that creates...
Every disaster, it's also no good.
That's correct. As parents, we should be aware and put interventions into place. So when the child asks, why do you have to tell me all this? Only because I care about you. Skip the piece because X amount of kids never died in the tragedy, in the disaster. That information the kids don't have to hear. Yet they have to hear that we care about you, so we're going to give you some precautions of how to stay safe. The question can still come up, what should we tell our children? Even though that's not the most important part, more is the modeling to the child. But what's the message to the child? The message to the child is that we care about you, and if at any time you don't feel comfortable, someone or something makes you feel uncomfortable, please let us know, because at all times you want to make sure that you feel comfortable and you feel safe. That message encompasses a lot. We want to make sure that you're comfortable. We want to make sure that you feel good about your surroundings and you feel safe. If you have a question about something, whether it's okay or not okay, call us. Give us the code word. Ask the question, and we will make sure that you're protected and you're safe at all times. Again, what to tell our child? At all times, you should feel comfortable. And if at any time you don't feel comfortable, something or someone makes you feel uncomfortable, let us know and we'll take care of it. So just to summarize, children need to be supervised. Supervision helps the three areas. It helps protect them, it helps from inappropriate behavior, and it helps make them feel cared for and loved. At all times, you should know where your child is. You should have a code word with your child. If your child is not home and at some point he or she doesn't feel safe, they have a code word. I tell my children, anytime you're somewhere and you don't feel comfortable, something is making you feel uncomfortable, call and ask, how's Tati feeling? Whenever you're going to ask, how's Tati feeling, whether you ask it to Tati or to Mommy, we're coming to pick you up right away. It's a code word. Now, hopefully your kids won't need that. Yet they should know that you made a plan with them if, for some reason, they don't feel comfortable. And when kids are going to camp, send them email messages, what they call campgrams. Show them that you care. Show them that you're involved, even though we know that everybody cares about the children. But these are small liquids that you check in with them. And whether you call, you check in with the counselor, how's my child doing? Anything that my child may need extra help or extra chizuk. And the child knows that you checked in with them. They feel cared for. Be in contact with the camp staff. Tell them how much you care about them. Tell them how much you love them. That will help feel...
And tip well.
That helps.
Very important. In the beginning of the summer. Don't wait till the end to give the tip. The beginning of the summer, that's the way it works. That's
correct. And if the kids are not in camp and they're home, at all times you should know where they are. You check in with them. They're playing in your basement. Every few minutes, every 20 minutes, I would say, someone should come downstairs and just check in to make sure, is everyone okay? I just want to make sure everyone is okay. Anyone wants to eat? Just knowing that someone is Yotze V'Nechnes is another boundary will help the children as well. They're going to feel cared for, they're going to feel loved, and they're going to have a safe, grounded, cared for summer b'siyata d'shmaya.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Mashgiach. We are blessed in our yeshiva to have somebody who understands children, the psychology, the heart, the brains of what our children need. And it's a schus to be able to do this.
These type of compliments help.
Yeah, of course. That's my tip. That's all he's getting. That's my tip.
So if children hear it from the parents, also the one nakuda that I didn't touch is affection.
Right.
For parents to be
course.
effective with it. To parents to be
Affection.
affectionate with their children. Give your child a hug. Give your child a kiss. That makes them feel cared for. That bring, even if they may shy away, just the child should know that the parent.
Right. The 7th, 8th grade, sometimes you got to blow that kiss. But
The blowing the kiss gives that message.
They
Give
get
that message. So these compliments keeps us going.
That's
So shekayach Menahel for the compliments.
I'm here. Okay, but
Don't touch.
But I want but in all it's all safe. In all seriousness, this is a great thing. We're so proud that we do this to connect with our parents. Of course, anybody has any questions, they can reach out to any of us. And remember that there's still another few days. You know, we tell Rebbeim at the end of the year, like, you know, there's 2 days left. You can't make the boy anymore, probably, but you can break him still. Every minute in school is so precious, is so important. And again, there's a plea. There might be a taiva. There might be a yearning. Oh, let's you know, Thursday's only a half a day. Wednesday is, you know, cleanup time already. You have no idea how important the closure of the year is with the Rebbe, with their friends. When a boy, it hurts us so much when a boy, sometimes they have to leave early. But many times it's like, okay, we're going away. Might as well stay up and go here, go there. Closure is so important because you can't open the new year without closure from the year before. To be here, to take home your svarim, to take home your books, to say your goodbyes, to give your Rebbe not always the physical hug, but that verbal hug, that thank you Rebbe, that last half hour that we spoke about of Kulei Kadosh, of learning Torah, the whole yeshiva together, 550 boys. It's an experience. It's a memory that we're creating that the boys will never forget. And this year, like we said, has been an awesome year of growth and learning. And we look forward to a safe summer, beruchnius or begashmius, an enjoyable summer, a restful summer, a summer of fireworks, beautiful fireworks, a summer of music, playing musical chairs with us pressing the button. And we look very, very forward to everybody coming back safely and happy. And Mr. Shem will be zeichet to a beautiful, healthy summer, a gesunte start to the new year. Before you know it, thank you for coming, thank you for listening, and feel free to reach out to us whenever you want.